Defense calls Shane Donahue.
In Concord Township, Delaware County, leaves 3 people dead.
Philadelphia firefighters was trying to contain the fire so it didn't spread to other structures.
It's a nasty fire in an old building, and there's some extensions we're concerned about. There's buildings that wrap around to the rear, and there's buildings that come in from 3rd Street. We're quite concerned about that. We're covering those now.
Nearly 200 firefighters and 50 trucks battled the stubborn blaze that gutted the building and for a time threatened neighboring stores. One of them right next door, Big-Hearted Jim's, a clothing store heavily damaged by smoke and water, closing the store only a week away from Christmas.
This is going to kill me.
People, including the owner, escaped safely from the 5-story building. The owner says he doesn't know how the blaze started.
I don't know.
He tore SEPTA buses and traffic for blocks around, and crowds were kept far back because for a time fire officials feared the building would collapse. Some fires are costly in human lives, others in lost property. For store owners here in this block of Market Street, this fire has cost them thousands of dollars in lost sales. And with Christmas right around the corner, it hurts. On Market Street, I'm Robin McIntosh, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Like 76ers basketball games.
Smashed head-on east of Route 1 near the intersection of Spring Valley Road. 3 people were killed in the crash, the latest in a host of deadly accidents on that stretch of highway. Police and residents say it's a treacherous strip. Reportedly, truckers call the route Suicide Alley. There have been calls for major changes on the roadway, but so far none of them have been implemented. It was a dramatic demonstration against drunk driving at a school in Wilmington, Delaware today. At the Salesianum School, students Against Drunk Driving sponsored a ghost out. Now, every 23 minutes today, a student had his or her face painted white. That to represent the violent statistics that show that every 23 minutes a teenager is killed in an alcohol-related accident. The idea is to get across the massive problem of drunk driving and encourage others not to get behind the wheel if they're under the influence.
Is the search for the cause of a spectacular 7-alarm blaze in Philadelphia's Old City section today. Around 9 this morning, firefighters got the first call here at 2nd and Market Streets. The auctioneer's house, a century-old 5-story structure. Flames erupted on the 2nd floor and then, fed by paper products, quickly engulfed the entire building. Within the hour, the blaze had gone to 7 alarms. More than 50 fire trucks, nearly 200 firefighters battled to keep the flames from spreading to adjacent structures on the block. This is what it looked like from Chopper 6 at the height of the fire, flames exploding through the roof and a pillar of smoke that could be seen miles away. Fortunately, no serious injuries reported. 3 employees inside the building managed to get out safely. 2.5 hours after the first alarm was sounded, Fire Commissioner William Richmond declared the blaze under control, and he praised his troops for a job well done under windy, icy conditions.
And it's a very, very tough job, and the work that some of these fellows do is not really appreciated. But as I said before, and I've been quoted before, it's not a job for sissies. This is tough weather to fight fires in.
And now, let's check the scene right now. 9 hours after the fire first reported, still smoldering, firefighters still on the scene, still pouring water on hot spots. Now, because the building's on the verge of collapse, fire investigators will probably not be able to get inside to pinpoint the exact cause, and the demolition of the teetering 5-story structure will probably begin tomorrow. The result will probably be another parking lot. But as Dave Frankel reports, this was an accident waiting to happen.
This building was a time bomb, and today it went off. City officials labeled the building a fire hazard more than 10 years ago. And we told you about it in an Action News investigation back in 1984. Here's a graphic example of how the city fire code can go unenforced for years. The owner of this auctioneer's warehouse at 2nd and Market tells me he's about to install a sprinkler. The building's owner finally installed a basement sprinkler system in 1985, 1 year after our report. But the same source also says that new violations cropped up. 6 violations in May of 1986 that were finally corrected in June of this year. But a separate inspection in February uncovered 9 violations. 6 were corrected by April, but our sources tell Action News that when the building burned down today, there were 3 outstanding fire code violations for improper storage and inadequate aisle space. Fire investigators have so far not determined if the violations contributed to today's blaze. During our first investigation, sources told me that this building is a typical example.
The cause of today's 7-alarm fire in Center City has not yet been determined. Fire officials are still asking questions and examining the fire scene. But while their investigation continues, some clues to this fire may be found elsewhere.
Eyewitness News has obtained these documents from the city's Department of Licenses and Inspection showing that this building has been cited 13 times for fire code violations over the last 18 months.
Those violations have included problems with the sprinkler system, problems with storage of flammable Gordon, and asked him about the violations.
All been taken care of.
Helen and I said that they weren't all taken care of.
Yes, they were. They sure was.
But the depth of compliance, and he says building code violations like the ones that were found here aren't always taken seriously in court.
100-year-old building in Old City, Philadelphia this morning. The Julius Gordon auction house at the busy 3rd and Market Street intersection burst into flames early in the morning hours. Even the fire escapes were engulfed. Fortunately, though, nobody was hurt. Fire officials say they may have to tear down the building, which is valued at $1 million.
Illegal kerosene heater used at the auction house sparked the blaze. The heater was discovered on the 2nd floor of the building. Fire codes strictly prohibit the use of heaters in all commercial buildings. The city is going to sue the owner of the building to recover costs. It took 170 firemen 3 hours to control that blaze. On a 15-minute roundup through town, the long arm of the law tried to lasso its mounts using man-made horsepower of its own. Well, when the two didn't pull over, police turned off their sirens and ended up hoofing it themselves. Fortunately, the two mounts, Bravo and Ronzo, avoided injury on the road. They were back in the barn by high noon. Up next